Hello all and welcome to Retz Gaming Days. I'm Retz Retro and this is a second Retz talk, and in the background there is a ghosty and there is a wolfie. They're currently making cakes of brownies, I think, isn't it?
Yes, Kit Kat brownies.
Kit Kat brownies. So yeah, but they're in the background. I've been warned that they might interrupt on this. Right, what I'm doing for this Retz talk is I'm doing something a bit more interesting. On the last one it was mostly an update as to what's going on so that everybody knew. And then it was a fun question about your favourite games console. This time, however, I'm going to put my opinions down on a certain topic, and that is about violence in video games. It's a topic where I keep on seeing stories or like seeing people complaining on the internet, or even hearing people talking about it, that they think that violence in video games is such a bad thing because everybody that plays them becomes automatically violent. And I completely disagree. To just be completely blunt, I have played all sorts of video games since I was a child, and I've played a lot of violent ones. I used to play Splatterhouse on Sega Mega Drive whilst I was a kid. Brilliant game. And I played Streets of Rage, which could be considered violent. I played the Mortal Kombat games. They could most definitely be considered violent. And I still play violent video games today, like the remake of the Splatterhouse game. I still own the old Mortal Kombat games. Trying to get hold of the old Splatterhouse games. It's a bit harder to get hold of though. And I'm really not a violent person. I'm really not. I mean, Wolfie has known me for like 14 years, is it, Wolfie? Yeah, she's nodding. It's going to make it sound like like you're a figment in my head rather than the papery piñata that you are. Anyway,
Already sounds like a figment in your head.
quiet you, ghosty. But yeah, Wolfie's known me for like 14 years, and now, Wolfie, it's not going to sound right if it's me saying it. Have I ever been violent in the 14 years you've known me?
No.
That was quiet. Alright, as Wolfie said, 14 years she's known me. I've never been violent. I've lived with her for the past 3 years, is it? 4 years. I've lived with her for the past 3-4 years now. And yeah, even dealing with jobs and taxes, I've not been violent. You know, that's saying something, isn't it? But I've always played violent video games. I play all sorts of games. I mean, if I just look at my little set of games I've got for the PS3 in the shelf over here, let's see, there's Overlord 2, Ninja Gaiden 3, Demon Souls, Deadpool, Resident Evil 5 and 6, Wet, Skyrim, Street Fighter Cross Tekken, the Bleach PS3 game, Saw 2, Flesh and Blood. So I have a little mixture of some violent games. Asura's Wrath, every single Dragon Ball Z game known to man. Yeah, I think I could go with that. Except I don't have Dragon Ball Z Legends on the PlayStation 1. Trying to get that. I've got a lot of Street Fighter games. Marvel vs. Capcom 1, 2 and 3. A lot of fighting games. I have a lot. But I'm not violent. And it's one of those things. People, I've played the Grand Theft Auto games as well. I've played Call of Duty. I'm not a big fan of them, but I've played them. I've given them a go. And people love to do this thing where they love to try and say that it's like when something goes wrong, they like to try and blame something else, blame someone else. They do that a lot, and I think that's what some people do with the violence in video games. Not everybody, but don't get me wrong. Not all. I played violent games when I was a kid, and it didn't affect me. But that isn't to say that all kids can play violent games and it wouldn't affect them. Different people are different levels of maturity and different levels of impressionability at different ages. I was never really impressionable by these things. I've always been quite mature in that sense. So for me, violence in video games meant nothing. Don't get me wrong, there are some people that shouldn't possibly play them, but a video game on its own isn't enough to turn someone violent. It's never enough. Violence has existed for like years. Violence has always been around before video games and everything else. We've always had violence. There's always been people fighting each other for whatever reason, be them war, or be them that the countries are at war, or be them that somebody had a shinier rock than the other person. People have always fought against each other. Bringing in video games didn't make this any more common or anything else. It's just something that happens. It's just one of those things. I mean, I hear stories like people saying about someone that's committed some crime, and they go, "Oh well, this crime is something that we've seen in Grand Theft Auto, so therefore they must have copied Grand Theft Auto." And I hear that a lot, and it's annoying. It's like there was a case a few years back with Manhunt. I don't know whether it was a true thing or not, and I heard it from so many people where somebody had bought the game Manhunt for their child, and apparently the kid had copied things out of the Manhunt game, and the person wanted Rockstar Games to pay for it, because it's obviously Rockstar Games' fault for making the game, not their own fault for buying an 18-rated game for a 7-year-old child. But, it's one of those things I say, I'm not sure whether that case was a real one or what somebody had made up or what. I haven't researched it. Feel free to research it and try and look into it if you want. But, from my standing, if you look at something like that, if the kid wants to mimic something out of Manhunt, there's got to be a little bit messed up first. It's not that Manhunt's going to do it. It's like the kids with Chucky. I know that this one happened. Two teenagers decided to beat up a kid and violently abuse them, mimicking something that they saw in Chucky, and they left the kid on rail trains, and I know that this happened. I know that the kids got arrested for it, and I know that everybody wanted to blame the film Chucky for it, because it's obviously Chucky's fault that they did it, because that's where they saw it. No. How many of you have watched a violent film, played a violent game? Do you instantly get the urge to get up and punch someone in the face? Do you get the urge to strangle them with a newspaper or whatever? No, you don't have that. I mean, it's not monkey see, monkey do. It's not that. It's not like that. And I get a little bit annoyed with the amount of people that love to blame games and films and everything else. But it's one of those things. I mean, go out there, play Mortal Kombat. Tell me if you feel like ripping somebody's head off after you've played it. And that doesn't mean going online and getting annoyed with people swearing at you. I mean, literally just play an old game, play a new game. I don't care. Play a game. Tell me if you suddenly feel violent after playing it. It doesn't make logical sense to me. It doesn't. As I say, I've always played violent games. I still do. Quite a lot of the time. Hey, if you ever see me, which okay, you don't know what I look like, but if you ever saw me, say hello. I won't hit you or anything. I never will. I'm not one of those people. Wolfie and Ghosty, did you want to put anything in on this? Because I think I'm actually coming to an end. I'm just started rambling now.
Keep rambling.
Keep rambling? No, I'm not going to keep rambling. There's no point.
Ghosty's unimpressed with the topic.
Oh, Ghosty's unimpressed with the topic. You have been listening. You've been making brownies.
Ghosty was unimpressed with the topic before you decided what the topic was going to be.
Oh, well, there you go. So Ghosty didn't like the topic in the first place. So what? That's one of those things. Anyway, so that's my views on it. I feel that video games do not, no matter how violent they are, they don't turn somebody violent. It doesn't happen. I think that people might mimic something they see in it, sure, but they have to actually have that urge to do it first. But that's the main thing. The video game itself doesn't cause the violence. It doesn't do anything like that. If they copy something out of it, fine. It's no different from copying something out of a book or a film. They have to be that way inclined first. Anyway, that's my view, and this went on for quite a bit longer than I expected. But that's my view on it. Please, tell me your opinions. Tell me if you think I'm wrong. Tell me if you think I'm right. I mean, there is no wrong or right in the end. It's an opinion. But tell me your opinions. I want to know what everybody else thinks. Have fun, and good night. See ya.